Hello sim racers, we're back again with content from F1 2021. Very excited to be trying this out. Hit the subscribe button to stay up to date and the notification bell to catch all our latest videos. We're very happy to announce that we are now sponsored by simrace247.com, one of the best places for you to check out sim racing information about all your favorite sims and leagues. Getting into the game, we see here that they have this clean menu. It's a similar setup to what they usually do, just a slightly different layout and design. All the usual suspects are on the home page, with the addition of this breaking point mode that we'll go into a bit in a sec. Single player career, where you can play as the My Team, My Driver, or you can play as a real world driver. Or there's the 2-player career, where you can do this online with a friend. So all that stuff's kind of cool. That's a new feature. The breaking point story is something Codemasters have tried before in some of their other titles, and I think they put elements of it previously in one of their games. Grand Prix and time trial modes as per usual. Multiplayer suite's pretty cool. There's leagues, local games. You can now do split screen again. There's ranked and there is social play. What's really cool about this is the fact that inside of here they show you different things, which beginner friendly, what's for experienced drivers, but obviously you can browse what's existing or create your own custom game. So that stuff's cool. The F1 esports side of things, they're pushing that again. Now EA is with them, obviously that's going to be a bigger push. Customization features for your car with the car liveries. I haven't really properly gotten into any of this yet, hence the car looks pretty bog standard. It seems pretty good. They have a suite of sponsors that you can choose from and placements on your car, some additional things that you can stick on there that I think the numbers a little bit shallower than previously. Same thing for the helmets. Again, you can get all the special edition versions of the helmet, etc. There's a showroom which is pretty cool, where you'll get a little spiel from Anthony Davidson talking about whichever car you happen to be looking at, and they give you some close-ups on the vehicle. Really cool. But for us, we're going to just jump into a quick race. We're going to go to Austria, and just because it's quick and easy, we are going to be choosing the cloven-footed one himself, so Hamilton, and just want to put it on qualifying here just so that we can start at the back of the grid. We want a clear day, so all these things are pretty standard to those of us who normally play these F1 titles. If you're new, I will be doing a proper review later on. Note the AI difficulty at 70 there, and you'll very soon see why that is. So again, at the beginning of the race, they have all the typical stuff that they usually have in all of the F1 TV broadcasts, which has been the same consistently in all the games. It's been redone here again, so a lot of this is incredibly familiar, just with some slight changes. But again, I mean, it's always a joy for me to play, but at the same time, to sort of people who don't really sort of understand from a year-to-year basis what's going on here, I appreciate and I understand that perspective too, because it is literally just the next season's updated sort of graphics, etc, etc, because it's pretty much the same base model most of the time. What we do find here though, getting a bit more into sort of the important stuff, the driving, the cars do feel different. I have not really been playing a lot of F1 titles recently. I did just a few hours of F1 2020 prior to jumping onto this, knowing that I was going to have to drive on this just to get familiar with it again, because a lot of my driving's been done in full-on sims, so AC, ACC, I've been doing some Automobilista as well, so just the feel of this has been completely different, so that might account for some of my driving here. But having said that, the cars do feel incredibly different. If you've been watching the actual sport online so far, one of the things that they changed in the rules was to decrease some of the, I believe it was the rear downforce. And of note, I think we'll see it a few times throughout this race, there's certain situations where you do actually feel that loss of rear downforce. Poor George, I'm giving him a little bump on the way there. I'm sure he's going to look forward to becoming my teammate eventually and getting revenge on that. But it was an accident, I just wasn't really paying attention. But yeah, particularly in this turn here, there's just a cautious nature of having to just go through there, because you're never sure if the back end's just going to come out. But in general, it feels quite similar to last year, but tweaked. But I'd also say that there's a certain additional amount of grit to this that maybe didn't exist last time. I'm not really sure. It's not a lot, if anything. It's more about that sort of different feel to the car. So in general, these cars feel probably, I tested them on time trial a bit, and I did think that they were a little bit slower. Again, part of it is I haven't been in this ecosystem for a little bit properly, so I'll have to get used to this, and we'll see those times come down. But in general, I didn't feel as comfortable with these cars as I did maybe with the 2020 cars just off the bat. But again, this is just first impressions. This is not a review video as yet. I haven't gone anywhere near to the lengths of checking this to be able to review it. But even what I'd like to also point out here, by the third lap, I mean, I am driving a Mercedes. Granted, it's not the best driving in the world, but it's not that bad by comparison to previous titles. I think at 70 AI, I could have been in the top sort of 10 by now, maybe top 8. Here, I don't know if the AI is different. And there have been a few instances where in the previous tryout versions, the AI pulled some interesting moves on the higher levels. Very sort of reminiscent. Alonso in particular in one instance pulled a move on me that I wasn't expecting from AI, but it was really, really slick, really smart. But that's further up the chain. But just lower down the AI spectrum, like, they seem to just put in very good straightforward times anyway. They seem to be doing pretty decently as it is. So that's going to be interesting to explore and take into account. But is this worth it if it's like a series that you buy every single year and you enjoy? Then yeah, of course, if you're a big F1 fan and you like playing it, of course it's cool. But if you're a person who's a bit more reserved and you don't necessarily get them from year to year, I'm gonna have to look into it a bit more and sort of get back to you on an answer on that one. Because I must admit, from a lot of the basic things that I've gotten into so far, I haven't seen massive amounts of changes other than the physical changes to the car itself, as any particular thing. But that's, as I say, without trying out the story mode. I've not tried out the 2-player career and all this type of stuff yet. So all these different features may actually make this an addition worth getting. They did have My Team last season. That's also been brought back. So I'm guessing that you can do My Team in the 2-player custom championship.
This is your final lap.
So if that's the case as well, I mean, there is added value there. I don't know how they're going to try and top that next year, but yeah, they are trying to put extra things on there every sort of year. They are coming with more, but is it enough for you to sort of shell out early to get it? I don't know yet. And it will require me having a bit more of a play with it to figure out what's going on. But yeah, it's pretty good. Another massive thing that I really should talk about here as well, engine changes. The changing the fuel modes, that's a thing of the past. That doesn't happen anymore, just like in the real thing where you can't change the engine mode anymore. So that there's a complete different dynamic to the way how you have to drive the sport. The way how you have to sort of navigate the track becomes completely different. You can't just bang on rich fuel whenever you feel like and save fuel whenever you feel like it too. You're stuck with one engine mode throughout the whole race as I go running wide over curbs, etc. So yeah, you're just pretty much stuck with that. So that's a different interesting dynamic which I'll have to come back on again, but it is what's true to the sport. So whether I enjoy it or not, it's irrelevant. It's actually the way how it goes in the real sport. So it's interesting how that changes things. After the race, you get the same old usual sort of celebrations. Here we see Mr. Horner celebrating, obviously. Max, oh, it looks like Perez got second and Danny Rick got third, so even Valtteri didn't have a good race, I'm guessing. But yeah, all that stuff's pretty standard. There's the podium pass stuff. We're going to be doing another video unlocking the podium pass, etc. But yeah, first impressions, yeah, it's pretty cool so far. I haven't delved enough into it to sort of truly get excited about it as yet, but it's been okay so far. It's been the updated experience, which is mostly why I get involved in this and why I get it, because I want the latest stuff. But if you're not necessarily like that, it might not even be that big a deal this year. But we'll wait for the review to find out. Anyway, in the meanwhile, thank you very, very much, people. It's been great to get back with you guys, and I look forward to making more soon. Take care.